This first impression with Dragonflight. Let's check it out, shall we?
What's up, boys? Today I want to talk to you about Dragonflight, my first impressions with the expansion, and just in general, sit outside for the first time in a long time, actually. It's been a while since I made a video outside, and so glad to be back again.
Yeah, I haven't seen him out here in a long time.
I'd like to sit down and talk with you all about my first impressions with the game. Now, before anybody goes and gets too wild, I want to say one thing. Usually, the problems with the expansions do not manifest themselves until a couple of weeks into the first season, a couple of months into the expansion. Then you start to see where the problems are. But we're at that good point right now in the game where the truth is that it doesn't really seem like it's that bad. It's actually kind of fun, if you can imagine that. I went through the leveling process. I'm level 70 now. I've gotten a few pieces of epic gear. I've done some of the dungeons. I've gone through some of the reputations. I did all the dragon riding stuff, and I want to talk to you about it today. But I do want to say that this is in no way, shape, or form a review or a comprehensive evaluation of the expansion. It's just simply my impressions of it playing the game. So the first thing is the actual launch of the expansion. I think that in general, the launch went very well for me. I've gotten relatively lucky with launches.
I had one of the luckiest launches, period, in my living history. I only had like 2 DCs. I'm sorry, I looked at Asmon's face. I'm gonna pause in a better spot. Okay. Yeah, I actually didn't. I think I DC'd like twice. Didn't have any issues. And I will say, even though like some of you guys experienced bad login issues, WoW login issues much better than the other MMOs I've played. It's so much better. And their queue system where you DC, you stand back in line. Or if you DC and within a certain period, you can log back in instantly. A lot of the other games, they make you go back in the line and you have to wait all day long again. Like, say you have like 5 minutes left after you waited 5 hours and you DC. You gotta wait again 5 hours. Where in WoW, it's a lot better. Red, you love that game. Yeah, FF, I DC'd a lot, and I ended up watching Chef Ramsay on my streams all the time. I loaded up my stream after waiting maybe 7 hours to get in. I popped my stream on. After like 2 minutes, I DC, and I'm in queue for 7 hours again, and I ended up just watching TV shows on stream. He's a WoW main now. Is he actually? Yeah, I had a lot of good things about Dragonflight so far, but I do know, I've mentioned it a lot on stream. There will be some PvP one-shotting issues. I played the beta. I've seen it all. However, I will say they've been making patch notes frequently, which I want to go over later. And if they could keep this up, very good expansion. There's nothing wrong with it for me, at least so far. Leveling pacing is good. Dragon riding right off the bat. We're not getting at the end of expansion with all the exalted reputations to fly. It's been super good. Watch Rex's story video about DK nerfs. Okay, I can check that out next as well. No borrowed power, gearing super easy, PvP feels fun. Again, the one-shotting, if they can control that and balance, which they are doing at the moment, I think they're doing their best. It's super good so far for me.
The reason why I say lucky is that there are some servers that just completely got fucked. This happened in BFA, it happened in Shadowlands, it happened in Legion. It happens every fucking time where there's just one server or 2 servers or a handful of them that is just completely dysfunctional for the first day or 2. And obviously that's bad, but in general, the launch was relatively smooth for me. And
1 to 2 days, that's nothing. Other games, they go on for like a week or 2. WoW expansion, this one was pretty smooth for me.
I would say probably the majority of people, outside of some disconnect issues that I think in many cases had to do with joining instances or being on your dragon. So the leveling process, as soon as I got in, was actually very good. I enjoyed the leveling process a lot more than I enjoyed it in Shadowlands and also in BFA.
Same.
In Legion, I think I probably also enjoyed it more than in Legion. I think that in general, the story was, they were all told, like each of the different zones were told separately, but they were all part of a greater narrative. I think also one point where, I mean, this is not really a first impressions, this is, I think, a fucking fact, that the in-game cinematics with like the character models
so good.
And the rigging that they have for facial expressions, etc., and you can see this explicitly with Kalagos, is way better. It is like fucking insane how much better it is than it was last expansion, and even more so than the expansion before that. You know, it doesn't look as I don't know, as fake, I guess you could say, and it just was really, really good. And I think actually the stories of the different zones was a lot better than what we got in Shadowlands, and I think it was also a lot better than what we got outside of probably BFA, besides maybe the Jaina storyline and the Drusvar.
I think having Dragonflying from the first zone was a huge W. It gave us so much freedom to fly around. And yeah, the lip syncing and the cinematics, they got so much better. I think they hired some of the YouTube people, right? It was just so much better. I know the guy that made like Nax trailer got hired for arena trailers, right? I think they're hiring like a bunch of YouTubers that are good with the WoW rigging, modeling, lip syncing. Everything was good. The cinematic, Alex Straza versus the big Snozzer Dragon with tiny arms, that fight was super fun. I liked watching that. It was almost better than Bolvar versus Sylvanas. Bolvar versus Sylvanas was so one-sided. I hated that fight. It wasn't bad, man. Actually, Tyrande fight with Sylvanas was really good. I liked that a lot too.
Arc, which I thought was pretty cool. Other than that, I think that it's been a massive step up in terms of narrative storytelling, in terms of showing the characters in the world actually like interacting with each other. The cinematics are better, the dialogue is better. I would say that just in pretty much all cases, it's a massive improvement. I think one of the best examples of why I think that it's very good is that, like, you know, whenever you're doing the first zone and there's like this dwarf that's like sitting off, like looking out into the distance, and you go through and you do a bunch of dialogue with him, and then after you finish the dialogue, you unlock a special quest to do for him. Well, the thing is that whenever there was a post about this, everybody responded to the post saying how great it was and how much they liked it, and in general, they knew who this dwarf was and they thought that it was a sympathetic story in a way that they were able to relate to and respond to. And I think that's really impressive, because whenever I think back to a lot of the main characters in Shadowlands, I honestly don't give a fuck about any of them. I think they're stupid, they were pointless, and the character development was generally awful, besides Denathrius.
I like the characters in Shadowlands, but I think Blizzard just did a really bad delivery in story writing. It could have been way better for sure.
Fucking Giga Chad. Everybody else sucked. So anyway, besides that, I would also say that just dragon riding throughout the entire expansion reminded me a lot of Cataclysm. I know this is going to be one of my more hot takes. I actually really
Does he agree with me? Chad, I always say it's my hot take.
Enjoyed Cataclysm. I think that's for a lot of reasons outside of video gaming, though. You know, like where I was in my life, what I was doing, etc. You know, how old I was. I think that's probably a bigger reason why I enjoyed Cataclysm more so than the content, but nonetheless, I did enjoy Cataclysm, and it reminded me a lot of that, being able to fly around after... I
think Cataclysm is one of the first expansions where questing became really fun. I know people hate it because the world got destroyed, but I think when they revamped all the quests and the areas, I do miss the old zones, of course, but I think they made the questing experience a lot more fun, and they added a lot of fundamental things. I remember saving like bear cubs in trees and extinguishing fires. It was very new and I liked it a lot. So Cataclysm wasn't too bad for me either.
You know, after just being part of the zone just right then, actually, with Cataclysm, and I really enjoyed that, and I really liked being able to learn dragon riding and also like collect the little dragon symbols and the tokens that like make your dragon run faster, or fly faster, and do
dragon run faster.
Nuances of it, and doing the advanced trials now. I think that it's very enjoyable, and it's just straight up fun. And I think that Blizzard focusing more on fun and just adding content into the game that is enjoyable, that people want to do and interface with, I think this is just such a much more sustainable model for development versus trying to create people that are, you know, like they're logging in every day to do their Torghast or to do some sort of calling quest.
Yeah, I don't feel like none of you guys feel this way, right? I don't feel like I'm logging in and I'm forced to be like, oh shit, I gotta fill this up, do my daily or reputation or tour guest chore. I don't have that at the moment. Maybe we'll have that in the future. We don't know yet. But so far, I just log on like, oh, should I do battlegrounds or dungeons? You know what I mean? Or racing a little bit. Level a new character. Feels good.
There's some fucking bullshit.
I'm
because
chilling.
of some system that if you get behind on, you lose your raid spot with, or you can't get into pugs anymore because you don't have it. I think that the shift away from that, and even Ian, I think, talked about this in the Preach video, the Mike Preach Wild, by the way. I would massively recommend watching this video. It's over an hour long and it's worth every minute.
I saw it. It's very worth it.
He actually even referred to it as the AP era. You know, you have artifact power, Azurite power, and anima power. That was the AP era, and that's basically something that they are saying, this is behind us, we're not going to do this anymore, and thank God for that. What a massive relief. And I think that the focus on just a more relaxed tone, I like the storylines in the game. I think they're more interesting. I think they're more personal. I think that that's one of the things that really has been missing with WoW, is having characters that you feel a personal connection to. And I think that with Shadowlands, not with Shadowlands, with Dragonflight, I think that's much more evident and it's much more clear. And I think that
he's so used to saying Shadowland, he keeps saying Dragonland, man.
Having the better rigging for those characters helps humanize them that much more, even whenever they are dragons. So yeah, quests were great, leveling experience was great. It was also very fast. I would say leveling was faster than it was in previous expansions, and I definitely appreciate that.
Same.
I don't really want to go through and spend a whole lot of time leveling my character for the 18th time or something like this. And I also like how leveling ends, and then you can continue doing the storyline, but you don't have to right away. You don't have to do that. You can go do something else after you actually hit max level at 70. And I also find that very much appreciated, because I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go out and do the mythic dungeons and, fuck around, exploit some mobs. It was a good time. I got 379 weapons out of that. Hopefully Blizzard doesn't take those away from me.
Wait. What exploit? What exploit, chat? I've only been doing PvP and mythics. There's an exploit you could do for weapons?
Yeah, I had a really good time doing that. And I think in general, the philosophy around providing tools for the player to have fun with, but not telling them how to have fun, has been a massive improvement. And I've really enjoyed it a lot. And overall, I think the leveling experience has been the best it has been in a long time. And it's very overdue. So yeah, leveling experience, absolutely S tier. Amazing. Cinematics, huge improvement, the best they've pretty much ever done in terms of, you might not enjoy the actual cinematic
379 weapon out of it,
subject matter of the cinematic, but I think that if you look at the way that the characters are moving and the designs and everything like that, I think that this is also the best it's ever been, and that's great to see. Dungeons, I think that in general I've enjoyed the dungeons. They're fine. I am a little bit exhausted from you always, like, this is like a thing now with WoW, and like every time that you do a mythic dungeon, like every trash mob has like 3 separate abilities, and it can be a bit exhausting to do with that like throughout the entire dungeon. I don't know how that's going to feel on Mythic Plus. I think that a lot of the dungeons that people are steamrolling and thinking are very easy in Mythic 0, I think they're going to be in for a very rude awakening in Mythic Plus, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe that's just my own opinion. But overall, I've really had fun playing the expansion. Dragon riding has been a lot of fun, and I hope they continue to make more content out of it. And I think there's one really good way to make more content out of it, is to just add dragon riding to the entire game, and then just let people choose whether they want to use dragon riding or normal flying mount.
Yes, that's the same. I agree with that.
There is a lot of value in using a normal flying mount, because you can just simply tab out, jerk off, come back into the game, and you're already where you need to be.
That's a fast sesh.
10 feet out or 10 miles out into the great ocean, and you're dead and you have to take res sick. One or the other, it's either way something that is very convenient. So what I'm really trying to say is that I hope they add dragon riding and they add a little bit more of
Vic, Tator. Thank you for the 2 months, appreciate it.
Those different little time trials, and the flying missions around the open world and the old world as well, in Azeroth and maybe Outland, Northrend, etc. I think the entire player base seems to really enjoy, well, almost the entire player base. There's never everybody that likes something, but many people really seem to enjoy dragon riding, and I'll be honest, I'm one of them. I think it's great.
Same.
There's been a lot of people I see out there. Oh my god, I thought that was a wasp. Oh my god. All right, so anyway, it was not. It was a moth. So yeah, I think a lot of people like dragon riding, and it's been enjoyable. The classes are fun to play, and it really is just going to depend on kind of how things evolve and how Blizzard changes the game and makes it different after the first line of feedback is received, after the first expansion or season comes out, and we really start to see the nuts and bolts.
I wonder how they're gonna add patches, chat. Are we gonna get some borrowed power legendary stuff, or just more eye level and raid, I guess? I'm not sure. We'll see, man.
The game, and we get to actually play it to its full potential. I think that's really where the expansions become truly tested.
I think they're gonna stay away from adding
these
the
functions
stuff,
work
but
whenever
we'll see.
they're actually put in a competitive environment. How do they work whenever people are using them regularly, and you know the honeymoon period is worn off? That's what's really going to define whether Dragonflight is a good expansion or not. But I think the actions that Blizzard has already taken with Dragonflight and the way that they've taken those actions indicates that they really do want to make the game better for the players. And I do not really say that lightly. I think that in many cases that hasn't been the case. And for some people who are doomers, I will absolutely throw you guys a bone. It is absolutely indefensible to not have the creation catalyst available on week 1 for season 1. And I think it's fucking ridiculous. They should just let people get their tier gear, and then that's that, and it's not a big deal. If you're worried about people quitting the game after they get their tier gear, that's a problem with the game, not the tier gear. So in general, I do think that there are some things that Dragonflight can absolutely improve on. You know, things like making Soar for Drakthir not as good. I don't really see the value in this. It was very stupid for them to do that, in my opinion. But overall, I think
Soar is not that good as dragon riding? I think they should just make it the same. Who cares?
A lot of the changes that have been made to the game have been made on such a foundational level that I've always said that an expansion, in order to make WoW a good game again, it will not take an expansion, it will take 2 or 3. It seems
I think the next expansion is going to be a banger.
as though Dragonflight could be the first one. We have a long way to go.
I don't think Dragonflight is going to be the first one, chat. Remember, we watched the Preaches thing, and we learned that whenever Blizzard makes a new expansion, like Dragonflight is out, they're already working on a new one, right? So when Shadowland was out, they were working on Dragonflight. Dragonflight, 100% they had borrowed powers from the aspects. When we were doing the little red or the black dragons, the green dragons, etc., there was a borrow power 100%, but Shadowland, negative feedback, they removed it, which is a great thing they did. However, they were working on this while they were in that lawsuit, sexual harassment, getting shit on, COVID pandemic. I don't think they got a whole lot to work on. Or maybe they did, and maybe it was just all excuse. But I think the next expansion is going to be a banger, chat. I think the next one is going to be a banger. Like, Dragonflight is not bad, but I think the next one, they'll understand us a lot more of what we want. Because they're, like, narrowing it down, right? I think it's going to be like that, chat. I think the next one's going to be good. But then Riot Games MMO is going to be like popping off by that time too, maybe like 2 years. And WoW might be having some competition there.
I'm glad Blizzard has started listening, and I hope they continue to listen, and I hope people can enjoy the game and give good feedback as well on how to make it even better. So yeah, I've enjoyed Dragonflight a lot. I've had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun at the beginning of Shadowlands too, and also at the very beginning of BFA, less so with Legion. But in general, there's always going to be that early honeymoon phase for the game where you enjoy it and you have fun. And it's nice to be in one of those right now. I hope it lasts for as long as possible. And I hope that whenever it wears off, we'll at least have a decent game whenever we can actually look back and see what's really going on. And if we don't, I hope Blizzard listens and can improve it as soon as possible rather than waiting to withhold changes for content later on. So yeah, that's in general the way I feel about Dragonflight. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about it. But to be completely honest, the sun is going down and it's going to be dark in about 5
I was just gonna say, like, his video started so bright, and then it's like nighttime. Holy, daylight saving, man.
think, and I will be playing through pretty much everything on Dragonflight on Twitch. Obviously, you guys see on the YouTube videos, etc. So I will be doing more of that. So I'll see you guys there. I had to end stream early today, so I figured I would do one of these instead. Thank you all very much for watching.
I like one of these.
Peace.
Dude, I wish I had a little treehouse too, so I can go up and talk to myself. I'd like that. If I go out and talk, my brother's chicken's gonna run over at me, and like my brother could hear me, my neighbor could hear me. I gotta record at home, man. I can't do that stuff. Maybe I build a treehouse too, chat. Hold. Good take though. I agree with a lot of things he said. Probably everything. I've been having a blast in Dragonflight, and only been giving compliments. All my friends are really enjoying it. People from Lost Star, people from FF, they're all enjoying it too. Even Payo is enjoying it. You know why? Because it's not complicated. Like, Payo is 37 and he needs to heat and he's tired. And if the game's complicated, like Shadowland, or for Zoomers, it's not that complicated. Or people that played retail throughout, it's not complicated. But if you're new and you start playing, you don't know what you're supposed to do. Like, where you're supposed to start, where you're supposed to go, right? It sounds like a meme, but it's true. You get lost. And now that there's no like confusion,